Rev up your engines! Now, this is a classic 89 Ford Probe. Guy just bought it a few months ago for only $2,000 and it runs quite well. Now, it does say Ford on the front, but under the hood, as you can see, is a Mazda engine. Now, it was put together in Michigan, but manufactured by Mazda. And this is a special one. It's a turbocharged, intercooled 2.2 liter 4-cylinder Mazda engine. Now, it puts out a reasonable amount of horsepower, especially when it's hooked up to a standard transmission like this. But that was one of its main failures, was if you didn't get a turbo, and if you got an automatic transmission, these things were dogs. If a dog is going to replace the Mustang, dogs don't replace horses. Now, as I said, he got a great deal on this. He only paid $2,000 for it. I'm always leery of buying a used turbocharged motor, but turbos do strain the engine more. So you want to make sure you have one that doesn't have a head gas that's blowing or is burning oil. And in this case, neither of those are the case. So if you're looking at a used one like this, certainly pull the spark plugs out. They're easy to get to. Look at them. If they're covered with burned oil, don't buy it. You know, the engine's worn out. Or, on the other hand, if you run the thing when it's ice cold and you open a radiator cap and as soon as you start it, it starts bubbling out, you know the head gasket was blown. Don't buy it then either. Then you want to listen to the engine. We'll start this one up. Now this one is running really smooth, but you hear a horrible clanking noise. You could probably use it in this case to get a better price on a good car, because it's not the engine. It's just the power steering pump because a hose blew, and it's making a racket. And I find that rather amusing because Fords have a history of power steering problems. So I guess since Mazda got together with them, they brought the Ford power steering problems with them. But it's no big deal. You know, you don't buy a car, something that stupid is wrong. It's not that big of a deal in a used car. Now, as we start it up and look inside, got a reasonable amount of gauges set up here. It's even got the turbo boost. Now, this is an old car, it's an 89. The turbo boost gauge won't work revving it up, but it does work when you're driving down the road. And as old as it is, still doesn't have a check engine light on it. And it's also utilitarian. There's a back seat, and being a hatchback, these hatches, they give you a lot of space. The great top so you can hide stuff and people don't see it. You can carry a lot when you drop them down. They're very handy cars. So you get a fun little car for a couple of grand that still runs good. How come they stopped making these things? Well, a lot of the deals between Ford and Mazda just ended up creating problems among the two companies. If you know anything today, Toyota and Mazda have a big deal going. And as far as I'm concerned with Mazda, it actually worked out better for them getting the Toyota technology. And these were rather a niche car. The first year they sold pretty well and it kind of tailed off after a while, which happens to a lot of cars that are niche cars. The first Fiat 500s, in the beginning, one year they sold like 55,000 of them in the United States. And the last year they sold like 500. And now they don't sell them anymore. A certain amount of people want a car and buy it, and it's not mass popularity, then of course they're going to stop making the cars. Let's take it for a spin. And what can this little turbo engine do? Well, let's check it out. I can hear those tires spinning. Got a lot of zip to it, and really, it rides quite smoothly. They're automatic transmissions that were crap, and this is a standard. Look, the power windows, they still work. They might rattle a little, but they go up and down if the boost gauge actually works. There it goes, showing the boost. Reasonable amount of miles on it, right? Well, watch this. Look at the gear shift. It's not even shaking. The hood's still slippery, even though most of the paint's gone. Now, if you do buy one of these, here's something else you should buy. And it just fell to the ground. A Haynes repair manual. They still have them, full of all kinds of information, things you can fix yourself. And he didn't even pay full price. He paid $5 for that manual. Now, see, the thing about getting an older car is the Haynes manuals take time to make because they actually strip down real cars, film it all. So a late model car, a lot of times you can't get one. Older ones, there's some great ones out there. You can learn how to do all the repairs yourself. And since, even though Mazda made this in Michigan with Mazda parts, technically it's a Ford. Lots of easy, cheap parts to get. You can go to AutoZone, get alternators, starters for these things, and of course, if you're a swapper, eBay, lots of places, you can trade parts, get really cheap used parts. Because unfortunately, a lot of guys wrap these around trees. And if you're looking for mechanical parts, up north, these things were rust buckets. If you're looking at one up north, jack it up. If it's rusted on the frame, don't even think about buying it. But here in Tennessee, hey, most of them don't rust too much if they stayed here most of their life. So they can be good and solid and have plenty of parts left so that you can take advantage of the rusted northern ones, maybe engine, transmission, have them pulled out, shipped down here. You can get a lot of cheap parts for these cars and have fun. A turbocharged car for $2,000? Hey, you can't argue that. If it's in as good shape as this thing is. So now you know a little bit more about a failed classic, the Ford Probe, and why you might take advantage of the failure, be able to get one dirt cheap and have a lot of fun without spending a lot of money. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Now, Volvo says that it's going to be a challenging transition year this year, 2025, and they're weighing about the tariffs in China and the hyper competitiveness in China. Now, a lot of people, if they don't understand the business, people say, oh, Volvo, it's a Swedish company. Volvo is majority owned by China's Geely Holding, the giant Geely Corporation. They make all kinds of cars there, right? And a lot of their cars are made in China. Their electric cars are made in China, right? And here's the thing. Volvo said they were only going to make hybrids and fully electric cars in the future, right? Well, that's kind of going by the wayside because nobody's buying their electric cars. Listen to this. In 2023 in the United States, Volvo sold 13,609 electric cars. But in 2024, which just ended, they sold 5,608 electric cars. So they sold way less than half of what they sold the year before. They're supposed to sell more as time goes on, right? They're selling less. People do not like the Volvo electric cars. Volvo is a company that has, in the United States, more or less an image. It's the yuppie car. You know, you can get your family soccer team in it and cup holders everywhere, safety with airbags and all that stuff, right? It turns out that their clientele doesn't want electric cars. They can't give them away. If all they sold last year was 5,608, and this isn't in a month, this is the whole year. No wonder Volvo's wondering about the future. Hey, nobody here in the United States, a big market, wants to buy their cars. And even in China last year, Volvo only sold 4,300 fully electric cars. And China's now the #1 auto market in the world. U.S. is 2. So between the two of them, they didn't sell too many electric cars. It's a failure for Volvo. And the weird thing is, they're not bad cars. I've tested them out. I kind of like them, except they're electric cars. I would not pay $60,000 for some electric car, you know? They're in deep trouble. They're going to have to start making some changes at Volvo, just like all these other car companies are saying, oh, Stellantis is now saying, we got to change things around. Well, Volvo needs to do it too if they're going to sell these electric cars because nobody seems to want them. Well, it's good news for GMC. GMC truck sales grew 14% during 2024. Now, I am not a GM fan. I don't like their 1500 Silverados. I don't like them, right? But for some reason, the GMC trucks are better, especially the 2500 and up. GMC Sierras, 2024, they sold 322,946. That's a lot. It's up 14%. Now, it's just showing that they can try this EV crap and buy this. These are conventional gasoline and diesel trucks, right? Now, they're electric trucks. They hardly sold any. Now, I can't even get the figures on it because they won't let it out. Well, no surprise. Look at this. Here's a 2024 GMC Sierra Max Range. It's $100,000. Who's going to pay that money? They're regular trucks. They sold 362,949. You know how many F-Series Ford sold? 942,996. People are still buying these big old trucks, and I do have to say the GMC trucks are better than the GM trucks. I don't know why. Better quality control, especially if you get the 2500. I have people who own 2500 GMCs. They love them, but every single one of them said, I would never buy another Silverado 1500. The last one I had was a pile of crap, but I like the 2500 GMC. So don't think GM, think GMC or Ford. Well, Hyundai's at it again with their crappy quality control. Hyundai issues a recall for thousands of cars with a fuel defect. Now, these are the cars with GDI. They have a very high pressure fuel pump that can go over 1,000 pounds PSI. It's a lot of pressure, right? Well, guess what? They didn't make them right. It turns out that the fuel control valve in the high pressure pump could allow fuel to just whoosh, go through, stall the car out, and then bam, somebody smashes into you on the highway. You might think, oh, gee, you got all this extra fuel, your car's going to run better. If your car gets too much fuel, it'll stall out because it's called flooding the engine out. Fuel has to be metered perfectly, and if you throw too much in, the engine will stop running. And in this case, if you're going down a highway and it stops running, somebody hits you. Plus, they're not even getting into the long-term effects. If you get too much fuel, maybe it's just a little bit much, not enough to stall it, but if you get too much fuel, that washes the oil off your piston rings and wears your engine out prematurely. So your engine will wear out faster too because they didn't build the stupid high-pressure pumps right. Hyundai and Kia are not good companies. Anybody that thinks they are is a fool, doesn't understand. They don't make them very well. They're not designed all that well, and they certainly have problems with them. And now they got to recall all these. And if you've ever had one recalled, let me tell you, I've had customers have them recalled. Half the time they're not fixed right anyway. They do some Band-Aid thing, or they replace the part that was bad with the same part. And then it breaks again. But then they say, well, we already fixed it under the first recall, so you got to pay for it this time. I've seen that over and over and over again. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.